Hello there, kia ora. Right now, Christopher Luxon is landing somewhere in the country as he returns back from Southeast Asia, where he's been out and about, basically selling brand Aotearoa New Zealand. I'm sorry, I forgot. National Party. New Zealand. You can't use Te Reo Māori around them for anything like that. They get a little bit upset. But he has been out and about selling the country. And that's not a bad thing. Prime ministers have been doing that for generations. David Lange did it when he went to the UK and told them he could smell uranium on their breath. John Key did it with David Letterman, Jacinda Ardern with Stephen Colbert. These things are not new and not unusual. What I found interesting about this trip, though, was his visit to Manila. Now, last year, Christopher Luxon got to sit down with Bongbong Marcos Jr., the president of the Philippines, for I think it was an Australian conference of some sort, and they apparently got on really well. And that's not a bad thing. We want good working relationships with our neighbours and trading partners. But Bongbong is an interesting fellow. On this particular trip, the Prime Minister stayed at Bongbong's presidential palace. That is a bit weird in itself. There was fireworks displays and dancing concerts and big banquets and all that kind of stuff that you sort of expect from heads of state meeting. But Bongbong is in himself a fascinating fellow who actually has a weird bit in common with Christopher Luxon. They both see themselves as really, really good on social media to varying degrees of success. You see, Christopher Luxon has called himself the TikTok king because of his really super awkward, really cringy videos that his social media team try and get him to make to feel relatable and personable. But Bongbong has used social media in a really different way. He's used it to rewrite history. You see, Bongbong Marcos Jr., well, he's the son of Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos, who at one stage actually held the Guinness World Record title for the biggest theft in government history. They took a lot of money. So much money, in fact, that there is a massive outstanding debt of billions of dollars to the Philippines at the moment. That's probably not ever going to get paid because of the way that their law is set out. You see, if you inherit money or if you're the executor of a will, which is the case here with Bongbong, if they don't collect the money within 5 years, it's actually their government's policy to wipe that debt, and they don't chase after the president. And the presidential term is 6 years long, which means that money is gone. So while we've gone and announced that we're going to be giving them $41 million to shut down coal powered plants, which ironically was something that they actually stopped doing here, the national government again, they could have that money in the Philippines to do this themselves if their president paid the tax bill. But you see, what's really interesting here isn't about the tax bill itself, it's actually about what his big overall image is in the population. You see, there will always be people who know who the Marcoses are and what they did. If you go to one of the Manila museums, because they've got like five in a row, one of them actually has a hall with portraits and information on all of their past presidents, except the Marcoses, the most famous ones, do not get the honor of being in this museum. Kind of strange. You can see that some people weren't particularly big fans of theirs. But they've been using social media for the last few years to completely rewrite history about where the money came from, for example, or just how amazing and benevolent the family was. And a lot of that fed into how popular Bongbong was when he went into the presidential elections in 2022. A lot of his success came down to basically rewriting history through social media and people not having the ability, the skills, or the infrastructure to be able to check or fact check what was going on, meaning that he is incredibly popular in social media and he doesn't use much in the way of spokespeople. He tends to speak for himself on the advice of his own communication people because that makes him feel more authentic. Much like our Prime Minister, when he's making his TikToks, he's using his voice as directed by people in his spokes team. Can you see where I'm going here? This kind of overlapping behavior, while not necessarily a correlation of our Prime Minister did this, so they did that, is very much something that we should be concerned about. We know that Luxon looks up to Marcos. We know that the two of them see themselves as really important figures on social media. And we know that one of them completely rewrote history. We've already seen a few things happen with this particular government where they'll take credit for something that the last government did, in an effort to kind of rewrite history themselves, not on the scale that's going to cost us billions and billions of unpaid tax dollars yet. But there's always a possibility that they're picking up tips from each other, and that is something that we do need to be concerned about. I really wish we could go like 1 week without a depressing video, but not the case. And again, if you ever get a chance to go to Manila, absolutely, some beautiful things to go and see there. Go and check out their museum. It is gorgeous. But don't go embezzling billions and billions of dollars and then telling people that it didn't actually happen.